Hello, and welcome to my April book corner. This month I got through 2 books, and I know it is a couple of days into May at the moment, but I wanted to try and finish off one of the books because I only had a few pages to go. I just got really busy towards the end of the month, but I got it done, and yeah, let's get into it. So the first book that I finished this month was Sorta Like a Rockstar by Matthew Quick. You might recognise Matthew Quick's name as he did write Silver Linings Playbook, which is kind of how I got into him. I haven't actually read Silver Linings Playbook, but I really do love the movie, and I ended up picking up one of his other books, which is Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock, which is an absolutely devastating book, but I highly recommend it. And a few years ago I asked one of my friends to get me a couple of books for Christmas. I didn't ask her to get it for me, but she asked for a list and they were on the list and she got them for me, this being one of them. And I finally got around to reading it because I just kept pushing it back and pushing it back. But it did take me a little while to get into, I'm not gonna lie. The writing is a little bit strange in this one. It's from the mindset of the main character, who is a 15-year-old girl, and she speaks kind of strangely, not a way that I would, not a way that comes natural. Like, she sort of adds yeses and trues to the end of sentences. Like, I'm just trying to find one for you because I ended up, I think my brain ended up skipping a lot of them because it just felt so unnatural to read. Waking up at a normal time in Hello Yellow isn't all that bad because of the many windows. Warm sunlight cubes reach everywhere. This happens on the weekends. True. The trues, they were a bit off-putting at first, but I think I ended up skipping them and then I started to sort of enjoy the book. It ended up being a lot more heartfelt than I thought it was going to be. It's sort of this young girl that won't let anything get her down, and then it all gets a little bit too much and she gets down, and she gets down really badly. And you know, we've all been in that kind of situation where something just hits us too hard and we don't have the energy to put on that happy face and to make our friends feel happy. And it's sort of about her getting back on her feet and figuring out ways that she can still help. And I really enjoyed it by the end of it. Just, if you're gonna read it, you really have to give it like half the book to actually be able to fully get into it. At least that's what happened for me. So maybe don't start with Matthew Quick with Sorta Like a Rockstar. If you're going to start on Matthew Quick, I definitely recommend the book I said earlier, Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock. The only other book I got through in April, as I said it was quite a busy month, was One Day, which I only just recently got, but I always like to at least read one of the new books just to sort of confirm that purchase was okay and that I didn't waste my money. One Day, I was totally wrong about One Day. Not totally wrong, but not totally right at the same time. So in the haul, when I got this book, I spoke about, let me start that sentence again. So when I was describing this book, what I thought the storyline was that the two main characters of the book, they sort of meet each other on the same day across like a span of their lifetime and have this sort of long distance love affair kind of thing happening, and they grow and they change and stuff like that. It's like that, but not, I thought it was literally on the same day, like the same week kind of thing they met each year. Okay. Sit down or something. Please excuse the cat. So what I thought the book was actually about, it kind of was, but it was kind of different, and in a good way, because I actually did end up quite enjoying how this sort of travelled with the characters across about 2 decades of their lives together, and how they start out and watching both of them grow, and they grow quite differently, and it sort of makes sense of when you lose contact with a friend and you can regain contact with a friend. Sort of the friendship breakup, I guess. I think we've all had a couple of friendship breakups in our lives. You know, the primary school ones, they start really small. You just sort of, you move to another high school so you don't talk to that person anymore. But then when you finish high school, you've sort of got to really make an effort to hang out with the friends that you want to keep, and you lose the friends that, you know, you don't have the time for, or you realize that the only thing you had in common was you sat in the same classroom every day for 5 days a week, you know? So it was quite relatable, even though it did span across different ages. The themes were relatable, and I did really enjoy it. So give it a go. I think I'll give the movie a go. I haven't decided about the movie, but I did enjoy the book. So yeah, nothing, you know, huge happens in it. It's literally just slice of life kind of stuff where you just follow these two people. But the writing style was really easy to read. The writing style was really easy to read and just kind of nice to escape into these two characters' lives. The chapters were kind of interesting because I thought it would sort of follow one character and their mindset for a chapter, and then follow the other character for their mindset on a chapter, and you would sort of only get these one-sided views of each interaction, but it splits in between them, and it sort of just interchanges quite smoothly in between the two characters' mindsets and what they're thinking at the time. It's not directly first person on either side, but it sort of explains to you how they're feeling and how they are actually receiving all of the information in that particular scene. So I did really enjoy it. I would recommend this one more than I would recommend Sorta Like a Rockstar. This is an older age group, I would say, as well. Like, you would probably match a lot more with this one than you would with Sorta Like a Rockstar, because Sorta Like a Rockstar is very young in its main character and in its themes. I feel like they are quite young compared to this one where it's about growing and changing. This would be really good if you just left high school, maybe, but definitely if you just left university, or if you're working through university and you're trying to figure out friendships and relationships and just adult life, really. One other thing I really liked about One Day was that it sort of taught you to not make apologies for yourself, and I think that's a really important thing that a lot of people either like have learnt or they need to learn. I think everyone should learn, for like, definitely, because, you know, when you make apologies for yourself, you're not really being yourself, and I feel like that was one of the biggest themes in the book. It was just own yourself, own your actions, good or bad, and just move on. Just deal with it, whatever the repercussions may be. As I said, whether they're good or whether they're bad, just live on life, and I think that's an incredibly important theme, so definitely give that book a go. That is sadly it for my April book corner. I didn't quite get through as many books as I was hoping. Fingers crossed May comes with a few more. I have been interchanging, like, during reading these books, that's not a sentence. While I was reading those two books, I was also reading a few chapters here and there of Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, the first book, which I have read before. I just got into a huge Game of Thrones frenzy, and I just couldn't get enough. I rewatched all the seasons before it started back up, and I wanted to keep getting more, so I decided to reread A Song of Ice and Fire, but I didn't want it to overtake me reading new books. So I guess in a sense I have also read that, but it's a reread and it's not fully finished. It's just here and there, just for a little bit of fun. Anyway, that is it from me for today. Please, if you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. In the comments below, give me any suggestions you have on books that I might enjoy, or if you've read any of the books, please feel free to create a little bit of discussion and let me know what you thought of them, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!